Hi, my name is Michael Hicks, and this week we're looking at the cost of operations for the selected aircraft for our company. So, once again, we're stuck in the elevator, and I know it's lonely at the top of Olympus, but don't worry, I will keep you company until we get there. Got some feedback from everybody, and the aircraft that I presented to you last week, they're apparently all still in the running, but you feel that they're all viable options for our company. And those, again, would be the Citation CJ4 and CJ3. The Avanti Piaggio 180 Evo, and then the Beechcraft King Air 350i. And I took a little bit more information on them, and I decided to compile some finance numbers for you so you can see what we're looking at as far as how much the company's going to need to spend. So, cost of operation for these aircraft, this is with 20% down for the purchase on a 20-year note with 7% interest. That's fairly standard. We could get away with 10% down, but since these aircraft are slightly less expensive, if we put 20% down, we might save some money on the tail end in the form of saved interest. So the fixed costs for these aircraft, the CJ4 is at roughly $261,000, CJ3 is at $253,000, Piaggio is at $240,000, and the King Air comes in with the cheapest fixed cost of $234,000. The variable cost for each aircraft, CJ4 is roughly $1,700, CJ3 is at $1,400, $1,500, Piaggio is at roughly $1,100, and then the King Air is roughly $1,200 for variable costs. The yearly cost of operations for these aircraft, CJ4 is at $1.4 million, CJ3 is at $1.3 million, Piaggio is at $1.1, basically $1.2 million. And then the King Air is 1.2, almost 1.3 million for a yearly operating costs. Now the hourly operating costs, CJ4 is at $4,700 an hour, CJ3 is at $4,100 an hour, Piaggio is at roughly $3,400 an hour, and then the King Air is at roughly $3,100 an hour. Now, while the King Air does have the lowest hourly cost, it also has the highest estimated hours of use. You can see that on the right. The King Air, we're looking at spending 413 hours in the air. The Piaggio, we're looking at 353 hours. The CJ3, we're looking at 327 hours, and then the CJ4 is fastest, and we're looking at 307 hours. Now, just for a comparison, I also took everything the same, except I changed the purchase to an outright purchase. There would be no financing, so we wouldn't have any interest, no note, just a cash purchase. The fixed cost, the variable cost, and the hours, they all stay the same. The only thing that changes is the yearly costs and the hourly operating costs. And you can see that here with the finance costs on the left and the 100% purchase on the right. And one thing you can see right off the bat is purchasing the aircraft outright, the yearly and the hourly costs drop significantly, and they drop by almost half. Case in point, you have the Piaggio, just because it's close to round numbers, would be $1.2 million for a finance cost. If we bought this aircraft outright, it would cost us $626,000 a year to operate. So it cuts our spending in half each year. Now granted, there will be a more significant investment on the front end of that. We would be paying less in operating costs yearly, and since we paid for it outright, we would be able to amortize that and basically deduct it and save the company itself some money on the tail end. Now, if we decided to forego purchasing an aircraft and we went with a charter, and for example, it would be a Lear 60. If we spent 307 hours of flight time, which would be the CJ4's amount of flight time, we would be looking at $1.5 million for a charter operation. And if we needed more time, and I went with the King Air's total flight time of 413 hours, we're looking at upwards of $2.1 million annually just to maintain that amount of flight time. So, for argument's sake, we would be spending 1/3 the price of a Piaggio each year just to maintain a charter operation. And I don't think the company wants to throw money away like that. I believe that we would rather invest in an aircraft so we could keep our own schedule. We don't have to worry about anything else, and We can also write it off on our taxes. But all things considered, even though the citations have much lower airtime, I think everything that the Piaggio offers as far as operating costs, hourly costs, and yearly costs, I feel that the Piaggio will be the most efficient aircraft for our company. But I thank you for listening to me, and if you have any questions, please, as always, come find me or just scream at me until I come find you. Thanks again.